Welcome to the Industry Insight podcast on behalf of the Melbourne Innovation Park, and thank you very much to David and Emily who are joining us from Anglian Water.
Hi, I'm Dave Newsom. I'm the Collaborative Skills Programme Manager. I work for Anglian Water's alliances. Currently, Anglian Water have 5 alliances made up of 13 either multi-billion or multi-million pound organisations delivering for Anglian Water. And we are responsible for looking at skills shortages, specifically in the construction industry. Over to you.
Hi, my name's Emily Law. I work across the Anglian Water Alliances as well. I'm a Collaborative Skills Coordinator, so I head up the programme working alongside Dave, whereas I sit more within the colleges. So I work with West Suffolk College, helping to deliver their construction operations and Anglian Water Alliance sponsored course.
As a well-established employer, why do you think that it is so important to be invested in the future workforce?
Times are changing. And along with that, specifically in the construction industry, we've got an ageing workforce, and specifically in the east of England, which Anglian Water works in, because we've got a region from the Humber all the way down to bordering London, and from the east coast to Northampton. Back in 2014, when I started this programme, we were looking at skill shortages for skilled operatives of 20%. Meaning that, if we didn't do something about this and invest in the future, we would be really struggling right now. And with the alliances that we have, we've got a 15-year program, so it allows us to dream about investing in the long term rather than a traditional 5-year program, which other water companies use, where we wouldn't have the ability to do that.
I think the really important thing is that future workforce brings new people with new ideas, and that's how innovation and future business needs to be happening.
So for your business especially, is the skill shortage something that you're already kind of feeling the effects of?
Yeah, skill shortages, we are feeling the effect of it. And the introduction of the apprenticeship levy, etc., has allowed us to think about upskilling current workforce as well as bringing new people in. And everything that we're doing is not thinking about just what skills we're looking for right now, we're thinking about what skills we're looking for in the future. So, the guys that we're looking, that are construction students that are looking to become construction apprentices, are working on digitally focused stuff right now, so that they are prepared for what the future might look like. And on top of that, we're looking at, making sure that we're resilient. So in the past, you would have said, right, you're a pipe fitter, you just do that. What our program looks at to make sure that we don't have those skill shortages is to allow them to become multi-skilled and trained to be multi-skilled, so that we can deploy them in anywhere the requirement is. So if there's a rise in work in a particular area, we've got people that are skilled to move from one place to another. And I think that's something that's quite exciting about what we're doing right now.
I suppose it's good to have students and trainees who understand really how everything works. What is different about this particular type of apprenticeship in comparison to the other ones that you've run before?
So how it works is students join the college to do a 1-year City and Guilds Level 2 construction operations course. So that is purely with the college, but the Anglian Water Alliances sponsor it. So what that means, we get involved, we do work experience, we do site tours, we provide materials, PPE, they come and do big alliances days where they can meet us all. So as a young person, you're bombarded with options and choices at a very young age. And what we're saying is, actually, rather than you walk straight into an apprenticeship, maybe not fully understanding what that apprenticeship means, do a year on a college, you can get a bit of a feel, and we'll be there as well. So I'm there every week doing one-to-ones with students, as well as the other involvement I mentioned earlier. So they can get a feel for us as an employer as well. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the year, not only have they kind of got an idea and they think, actually, Joe, this is really for me, this is an employer I want to work for, it looks like loads of fun, it's really interesting. They can go for our assessment centre, where one thing we pride ourselves on is that we prefer behaviours and attitudes over the qualification itself. Obviously the qualification is important, but we're all about behaviours and actually what are you like to work with? Are you a good team leader? Are you a great team player? That kind of thing. And then if you pass the assessment centre, you go into our groundwork apprenticeship standard, which is a level 2 2-year course with the Anglian Water Alliances.
So a lot of it ultimately comes down to the attitude. Do they align with your values? Are they right for the business? Following on from that, apprenticeships are obviously, as you've discussed, are very important. Have you already seen the benefits from taking on apprenticeships within the company? What are your kind of views? Has it worked for you so far?
When we kicked this off in 2014, some of the benefits, I mean, the early benefits were we were investing in people and we were investing in our geography. You know, when we kicked this off 2014, 85% of everyone that has successfully completed the course has joined us as an apprentice. That's it, you know, that's a really good achievement. And on top of that, of those guys that have completed the apprenticeship, 100% of them have now been given full-time positions afterwards. So we've invested in them in their apprenticeship, which has been a success, and they've found their opening to a career. And I think that's what we're trying to offer here. We're not just offering jobs, we are offering a career pathway, and we've reached further back than most employers would by investing at school, college age, to make sure that we are letting people know what Anglian Water does. It's, if you know, we've been to so many events, and one of the first questions I always ask is, do you know what Anglian Water does? And most of the time it's, no, I don't. And it's not until you say, well, did you know we have large infrastructure scheme all the way down to meter fitting, and the types of innovation and technology that's used within that's just crazy.
I think as an employee myself, and I'm sure you guys feel the same, if you feel like you're valued within a company, so if you've got a company that looks after you and genuinely wants the best for you, it just makes you feel valued. You produce better work, you're more productive at work, and you actually want to go if you feel like you're getting a return for the work that you put in.
I can give you some examples, if you want, of where we've gone above and beyond. One thing that we do is, and is very important, that we do not just put our name to this. You know, we're not just saying this is an Anglian Water sponsored course and that's it. We really do get involved. Emily and Sarah, who's Emily's counterpart for another 2 colleges, are there every week, as she's mentioned. But one of the things that they do is one-to-ones every week with the students. And that is where we find out what's really going on in a student's life. And until we did this, I didn't realise how complicated life is at that time. And how people are feeling, and mental health is a massive one. And it was only 2 or 3 weeks ago we put on a mental health awareness session. But there was one guy that sticks out in my mind who, you know, he was struggling with his maths, because you have to do maths whilst you're doing the college course. We sent our head of engineering to go see him and said, look, this is Mark Froggatt, who's at One Alliance's head of engineering. And he was an apprentice and he struggled with maths. And now he's the biggest boffin that I know. And he sat with him for 2 hours to help him understand how he got on with making sure that maths wasn't something that would make him fail. Because what was happening was, because he was so worried about maths, he wasn't turning up. Therefore, he wasn't turning up, he wasn't going to pass. And this was about going above and beyond to make sure that this particular student really did make it, because he deserved it. And we gave him extra tuition. We don't have to do that, but we want to, because we're totally invested in these guys.
I think it sets an example, and actually it's a little bit of reassurance saying, okay, your strength's not necessarily maths, but look at all these other things you can achieve with the skill set that you've got.
So one thing I think is brilliant about the course is, I mentioned the year-long course at the college, at West Suffolk College. So the City and Guilds course is completed within 2 terms, and in their 3rd term, we do an Anglian Water Alliances takeover. Unfortunately, obviously with COVID, it's gone a little bit differently to how it would normally, so we're doing it all virtually. But usually we'd have people, members of staff from across the alliances, so we're talking all different levels, all different companies, all different skills, coming to visit the students in person to deliver half-day, day sessions on just kind of introductory sessions on what we believe is really important when starting in construction, especially the water industry. It builds on their understanding of what they'll be walking into if they choose to join the apprenticeship scheme, what they're going to face when they step out on site and how they're going to deal with it. And in terms of a business, that's a lot of time out of us asking of our staff, but they all love it. And so I think the staff really enjoy it because it's giving back, and there's nothing more fun than teaching someone else something that you really enjoy. And then from the students, they're meeting people that potentially could be sat in their interviews or they could be working with when they move out to being on site when they get their apprenticeship. So already you're bridging that gap between college and employment, and you're starting to blur them lines, which I think is one of the main aims of this course.
Just coming back to bridging the gap, I think we've touched on it briefly, but one of the things that makes this apprenticeship so different is the fact that you are actually offering these students the opportunity to work on in a live working site environment.
Whether it's a live site or whether we come to them, we do everything that we can, because what we realised was that a construction course like Sitting Guilds is great, but it's general and it could fit a lot of different things. What we're doing is going, that's great, that's fantastic, you've got a recognised qualification, but what does the water industry, what does the alliance partners need and want from an employee? And that's when we're doing these extra bits. And it's not just about the skills stuff, because they'll do excavation, reinstatement, meter exchange, they'll do all sorts of stuff that the industry is looking for that a qualification doesn't pick up. But I think Emily's already picked up on it, that it's about that our extra bits, that where Anglian Water and its alliances go above and beyond the industry standard, which is your normal health and safety. It's about the life stuff that we do, which is living an injury-free environment. It's about mental health and making sure that they're able to cope with it and understand that we are a massive advocate of looking after our guys, so that they understand that's the kind of industry and company they're going to work for. The other thing that I'd like to mention is that we don't just sponsor the course which sponsors the students, we sponsor the college too. So we actually put their staff through these things too. Because if we didn't, they wouldn't be providing a consistent message of what Anglian Water does and what the alliance partners do. They'd be sticking to what they know about their general minimum standard stuff. And I think that's really important to be aware of, and something that we don't have to do, but we are doing.
I think one thing that's really important is through providing this above and beyond and your work experience on your site tours, what we're aiming for is that for them students that do join our apprenticeship scheme, when they step on site on their first day, they're not stood there lost, not knowing what's going on and not feeling valued and like they can't give a valued opinion. We want them to hit the ground and run with it, absolutely run with it, have the best day ever, and feel straight away like a valued member of the team whose opinion is valued and is completely educated and works well. And of course they'll always be learning, but even when they do the work experience, and we've had some students go on a work experience which was hindered a little bit this year with COVID, but some of the students that managed to get on, they straight away slotted into teams. Mm-hmm. Them being on site wasn't this daunting thing because they've been so used to us engaging with them, talking about site, doing practicals with them, talking about going on site, getting their site tours, getting their work experience, that actually they didn't freeze. They got stuck straight in and they were part of the team, and that's what we're aiming for.
I think it's a really fantastic scheme, and I think just by talking to the both of you as well, you can see that you're both incredibly passionate about it and you're invested in it as well. Having people who genuinely believe it and it is part of their values as well as the business values, it's really, really important.
Just to add to that, it's not just us, it's from the guys down, who look after them for work experience. It's the chief exec of Anglian Water, Peter Simpson, who was the main driver to get this thing moving, because of all the stuff that we do in business in the community. It's just, the Anglian Water and its alliance partners are just totally different animals in terms of how they care for people and looking after skills in the businesses. It's brilliant. It's a great place to work. It really is.
So I've been in the job just over 6 months now, and I have been impressed beyond the level I thought I could be impressed by the buy-in. When we were delivering in person before the pandemic, now we're moving to virtual. During the pandemic, we've been delivering virtual sessions. People are busy. People have been going through what everyone else has been going through, absolute nightmare really. And they have been happy to put aside time to interact with students, and they've enjoyed it and loved every second. And I personally, I know I can talk for Dave and Sarah in this, cannot thank the Anglian Water Alliances enough for their buy-in and their keenness as well. It's brilliant. And I think it's definitely one that the construction industry as a whole could learn from.
Definitely. I think also, as we are, well, locally and nationally facing this skill shortage, you guys are almost leading the way and setting the example for our other local employers who may be facing a potential skill shortage further down the line. You're providing that platform to say, hey, look, this does really work. If you are invested from the very, very beginning, you're going to end up with some highly skilled, highly trained employees who fit perfectly into your business.
It's probably one of the things we haven't mentioned is we've got circa 100 students this year, all of which have got an opportunity to become an apprentice with us. It's not about putting a number on it saying we've got 70 places or 100 places or what. It's about whether they've taken this opportunity themselves, and it's down to the student to make this work for them. So there's a possibility of 100 places. It's just whether they're the right fit, and it's all down to behaviours. That's all we're looking at right now. And in West Suffolk College, how many have we got of those 100? Is it 23, something like that? 28. So Grimsby Institute, Milton Keynes College, and College of West Anglia was the first one, and that's where I developed the first model, and then it's expanded to these 4 new ones. So I started on my own in 2014, and now there's 3 of us doing it across the 4 colleges. I'm extremely proud, and it's not me, it's Emily and Sarah that are doing all the hard graft, and I'm in the day-to-day interaction with the students, and that's where the real hard stuff is. You're not just dealing with a student, you're dealing with people's lives, and we're not the only ones that have invested in this. The student themselves is totally invested in this. They've taken a punt on taking a year out of their life to complete a course with an opportunity. Others might have just fallen into it, but the majority of them have really taken a punt. And, we've got to deliver on what we said, which is having opportunities for apprenticeships for these guys. So that's what we're working away with now, even in these challenging times.
I think for us as well it's probably a big shout out to the guys at Milburn as well, and the staff there that look after and coach and teach our Anglian Water Alliance students. Brilliant. And every time we push and say, oh, what about this? Let's try that. They go, yeah. Or they do the opposite way around. So it's definitely a college that's helped us. Like we're always learning as well. And they've helped to teach us and vice versa. So the course is constantly getting better and we're constantly looking to improve. So I think there's massive kudos to them guys as well.
The program is Collaborative Skills Program, and it's not just just a name we put to it. Everything, especially now we've gone to the 4 colleges, all 4 colleges are working together. It's not just us and West Suffolk College, it's all of them working together with us and our alliances to make this work. And that collaborative approach is paying dividend in terms of the kind of guys we're getting out of it.
Yeah, I think for obviously the College of West Anglia have done this for a few years now. The other 3 colleges, their first academic year this year. For us, it's our first programme of 4 colleges. So the 4 colleges are learning, we're learning, but we're also keen. We're all quite happy to put our heads together, have a chat, and just keep improving, which I think the positivity and the drive of it all is what keeps it going and makes it the great course that it is.
If you could go back in time and give yourself a piece of advice before starting your career or entering the working world, what would it be?
So for me, it would be so when I was at school, I was told you do school, you do your GCSEs, you do your A levels, you go to university. That was the ethos of the school system that I was in. Now that I've come to work in this arena around apprenticeships and seen the value of it, there's nothing like having somebody that not only has got a qualification because they're doing it, but they've been working as well. And if I was looking at doing something again, I'd be definitely looking at doing apprenticeships, whether it's at a low level, level 2, if that's where you fit, or all the way up to degree apprenticeships. Don't ever devalue apprenticeships, because right now they are key. They're a key to success in business.
Mine would be, when I was younger, I was told that my GCSE options, my A-level options, whatever kind of level of education got to, was a decision for the rest of my life. And it's absolute nonsense. Look after your mental health, do what you enjoy, do what you're good at as well. If they're both the same thing, then even better. And the choices you make when you're young do not have to define the rest of your life. There's so many career pathways. There's so many different places of getting to the same destination. So just don't panic and just enjoy yourself.
Thank you so much, David and Emily, for your insights and for joining us on this podcast. Really looking forward to seeing how the students progress over the next few years. If you're interested in finding out a little bit more information about the Anglian Water Alliance's apprenticeship scheme at West Suffolk College, then please head over to the West Suffolk College website. Thank you for joining us.